Hello, welcome to the Grow Your Wealthy Mindset podcast, where it is all about helping amazing physicians just like you create a wealthy life free from burnout and with the financial security to practice medicine on your own terms. I'm your host, Dr. Elisa Chiang. Hello, and welcome back to the Grow Your Wealthy Mindset podcast. Thank you so much for being a listener. Not long ago, being a physician and being an entrepreneur went hand in hand. There was a time where the majority of physicians worked for themselves. Technically, this would be self-employed as opposed to a business owner, if you're following Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad definition, but still, a solopreneur is an entrepreneur. An article published by the American Medical Association on May 6, 2019, asserted that it was the first time in the United States where employed physicians outnumbered self-employed physicians. The article referred to a study on physician practice arrangements conducted by the AMA. Per the article, in 2018, employed physicians were 47.4% of all patient care physicians, which was up 6% since 2012. In contrast, self-employed physicians were 45.9% of all patient care physicians in 2018, which was down 2%. That being said, in 2018, the majority of patient care physicians, which was 54%, worked in physician-owned practices, either as an owner, employer, or contractor. So even in 2018, more physicians were employed than self-employed. So even though in 2018, when more physicians were employed than self-employed, there were a number of employed physicians who were working for other physicians. However, even that has changed recently. According to the Journal of Medical Economics, in the United States, 74% of physicians are employed by hospitals, healthcare systems, or corporate entities as of January 1st, 2022, which is a 5% increase from 2021, when that percentage was 69%. The pandemic appears to have accelerated the change of physicians working for themselves or another physician to working for a large organization. Since the pandemic began, around 83,000 physicians have become employees. To give you some context, there are about 1 million physicians in the United States. So that's over 8% of physicians that have become employees since the pandemic. I think our current medical training really instills an employee mindset among physicians. I don't know about your training, but I didn't learn very much about starting a business or having my own practice when I was a resident or a fellow. For this episode, I'll talk about the shift between an employee mindset to an entrepreneur mindset. For many people, shifting from the employee mindset to the entrepreneur mindset may be part of the path of building wealth. For some physicians, it may be the transition to or within private practice, which can be either going from an employed physician to a partner in a practice or going from being an employed physician to starting your own practice. For others, it's about starting a business outside of clinical practice. Even if you are an employee at your day job, you want to think of your household finances more like a business where you are the CEO and the CFO of that business, the CFO being the chief financial officer. Part of the entrepreneur mindset includes embracing risk and understand the trade-off between risk and rewards. It can also mean being comfortable with the uncertainty as well as taking ownership of your decisions. The employee mindset is often about trading time for money. In order to earn more money, the employee mindset goes into thinking that means working more or working harder. But we only have so much time and energy. The entrepreneur mindset looks at leveraging other people's time and or money to create more money. Instead of working harder or longer, the goal is to elevate your role to doing more high-value activities, or for your money to be creating more money. This may also mean spending more time on revenue-generating activities and focusing on the highest of those activities. You've probably heard of the 20-80 rule. If 20% of your work gets you 80% of the results, the point is to focus your time on that 20%. As physicians, we come from a world of work harder. If we want to become entrepreneurs, we have to let this go. We think that we can do things best, so we end up doing everything. If we're good at something, we think we should be the one to do it. However, if it's taking a lot of time and you could pay someone much less than you can earn somewhere else or be doing something that's more valuable with that time, then you should have someone else do it. As entrepreneurs, We have to learn to let go of everything, even if we can do it better than someone else, so that we free up our time to do the highest value activities. The employee mindset is generally focused more on job security, following rules and procedures, and working within the established structures and systems to rise up through the ranks. The entrepreneur mindset is about creating one's own job, making up the rules, including building the structures and systems to grow the business. You start off by being right on top, the CEO and founder, but you also start out by doing everything, or almost everything. You can't hire someone from the very beginning, even if that's a virtual assistant. Instead of hiring employees, contract out work. As an employee, you're working in the business. As an entrepreneur, there will be times where you're working in the business and other times where you're working on the business. You'll want to love your business and working on your business. Of course, if you're buying in to become a partner, there will be many structures and systems in place, but you'll still want to shift your mindset to thinking about how those structures and systems can be improved. If you're starting your own practice or starting a business that's outside of the practice of medicine, you will be building those structures and systems yourself. In the beginning of starting a business, we tend to start out as a solopreneur, depending on the business. I know I'm still mostly at that space. I do hire contractors to do specific jobs and tasks, but I've yet to hire an employee. That means in the beginning, we're filling all the roles of the business, like being the CEO, the CFO, the bookkeeper, the technician, and the customer service. At some point, to grow, you'll need to hire more out and create standard operating procedures or protocols, abbreviated as SOPs or SOAPs, so that you aren't consistently teaching new hires what to do. Because there is going to be turnover and you're going to have to manage employees, and that's all part of being an entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, you're responsible for all the decisions in the beginning, and generally, you'll continue to be responsible for all the big decisions. And this means making big decisions about what must be done, when it has to be done by, and how to do it. You have to make things happen, and for better or worse, there's no one telling you what to do or how to do it. You also have to think both in the short term and long term all of the time. This also means making decisions with more uncertainty for what the future brings. It also means thinking wider about the big picture and thinking more outside the box. Employees tend to think inside the box. Though as physicians, I like to think that we're frustrated with having to think inside the box of hospital systems and corporate healthcare. When going from an employee to an entrepreneur, there is going to be a lot that's outside your comfort zone. It takes a lot of courage to move forward. As physicians, we train a long time to learn the practice of medicine within our specialty. Employees in general are typically hired to fit a job description requiring a specific skill set. As an entrepreneur, you'll have to learn a lot of new skills as well as a lot of new information. You'll test ideas, and some of them will fail, meaning that they won't produce the results you wanted or what you were looking for. You'll have to be comfortable with embracing failure and not looking at it as failure, but as learning a way that didn't work well as what else you learned from that experience. You either get the result you wanted or the lesson you needed. As physicians, many of us have a perfectionist mentality. You'll have to learn to be okay with not doing things perfect. You'll have to do things that may feel uncomfortable, like asking for money, whether it's from your clients or your patients if your business is starting a private practice, or from banks to borrow money for a business loan, or from investors depending on what kind of business you start. You'll also have to wrap your mind around selling. As physicians, we're actually pretty good at selling. We sell to our patients all the time. We sell patients on treatment plans, on taking better care of their health, on stopping smoking, on eating healthier, and on getting more physical activity. We don't think of it as selling, but it is selling the patient on an idea and getting them to take action. Selling a product or service is really the same. We're selling people on an idea and getting them to take action. The action is often paying money for the product or service, and that's usually where we get hung up. It's also easy for beginning entrepreneurs to think, I will change my life when my life changes. But it doesn't really work that way. We have to decide how we want to change our life by setting clean boundaries and make that change. As entrepreneurs, we get to make up the rules. That's one of the great things about being an entrepreneur. It's full autonomy. We have to show up as the entrepreneur we want our business to be in order for our business to grow to be in that place. We can't grow our business and then become what our business needs. We need to be the person our business needs in order to grow the business. Your business is a reflection of you, so decide what you want. Try not to focus on what you don't want. You may not know what you really want. You may only have a sense of it, like, I don't want to be told what to do all the time. Contrast can create clarity. Write down what you don't want and then flip it around to something that you do want. Go from, I don't want to work late nights, to, I want to stop working by 5 p.m. every day. And then stick to that boundary. When 5 p.m. rolls around, it's time to stop working. By limiting the time you work, it will force you to be more efficient. If you're interested in further exploring the entrepreneurial mindset, I encourage you to get the book, Made for More, Physician Entrepreneurs Who Live Life and Practice Medicine on Their Own Terms, which is a compilation of stories of physician entrepreneurs. The story I shared in the book is that of identity, going from the identity of being a physician to the identity of being a coach and an entrepreneur. The book is available from Amazon.com in paperback or hardback, as well as in electronic form for the Kindle. Thank you so much for listening to the Grow Your Wealthy Mindset podcast. If you're enjoying this podcast, please do share it with others, and I would really love if you could leave a review. I'll be back next week with another episode of the Grow Your Wealthy Mindset podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, I would love it if you could share it with your friends and colleagues. And now for the disclaimer. I am not a certified financial planner, accountant, or attorney, and nothing I say should be construed as professional investment, tax, or legal advice. This show is primarily for your education and entertainment. I am a physician, but I'm probably not your physician. So if you need any medical advice, please contact your own physician. Thank you.